The needle feels freezing against your thigh. It's an evening ritual now. Right before going to sleep, you pinch your skin and drive the cold metal home. You're only 11 years old. While your childhood friends are out playing on the dirt streets of Rosario, you stay locked in your bedroom, administering synthetic growth hormones because your own body refuses to do its job. You are simply too tiny. The doctors label it a medical deficiency. The neighborhood kids call you Pulga, the flea. You don't actually mind the nickname, but you absolutely detest your height. You just want to be tall enough to reach the ball when it's hanging in the air. You want to be sturdy enough to prevent the bigger boys from shoving you off the grass. Your father, Jorge, grinds away at the steel mill, while your mother, Celia, cleans houses and works in a magnet manufacturing workshop. They cannot afford the $900 a month required for this treatment. The insurance policy ran out. Your club, Newell's Old Boys, promised financial aid, but the funds never materialized. River Plate scouted you, witnessed your magic, but then looked directly at the medical bills and walked away. You are a prodigy operating under a strict deadline. If you don't receive these injections, your gift remains trapped inside a frame that refuses to stretch. You entered the world on June 24, 1987, in Rosario, Argentina, growing up on La Valleja Street, inside a house your father built with his own hands. It was a football household through and through. Your brothers, Rodrigo and Matias, played the game. Your cousins played it too. But you were the child who literally slept with the ball. You were barely 4 when your grandmother, Celia, dragged you to a local club named Grandoli. The coach initially refused to put you in. You were far too small, and he genuinely feared he would get badly hurt. Your grandmother screamed at him from the sidelines until he finally relented. You received the pass, dribbled past the entire opposing lineup, and scored. From that exact moment onward, every single goal you ever convert belongs entirely to her. She passed away just before you turned 11. Now, whenever you find the back of the net, you point both index fingers directly to the sky. You are searching for her up there, hoping she's still watching you. The year 2000 alters the course of your entire life. Your father is desperate. He catches wind of a trial across the Atlantic in Spain with FC Barcelona. It is thousands of miles away, an entirely different planet. You are 13 years old. You pack a tiny suitcase and fly over the ocean. You spend 2 agonizing weeks in Barcelona. You are incredibly nervous and painfully quiet. On the pitch, you play like a ghost, gliding seamlessly between defenders who look twice your size. Karls Rexach, the sporting director, watches you for a mere 5 minutes and knows instantly what you are. Yet, the board of directors hesitates. You are a foreigner, you are far too young, and the cost of your ongoing medical treatment is viewed as a financial liability. Your father completely loses his patience and threatens to take you straight back to Argentina. Rexach meets him at a local tennis club. Lacking official paper, he grabs a paper napkin and scribbles a contract right there on the spot. December 14th, 2000. That napkin becomes your ticket out of poverty and your promise of a real future. Your opening year in Spain plays out like a living nightmare. You reside in a cramped apartment near the stadium. You are intensely lonely, missing your mother and the familiar streets of Rosario. Your teammates at La Masia, the club's academy, genuinely assume you are mute because you never utter a word. You sit quietly in the locker room, just staring down at your shoes. Cesc Fabregas and Gerard Piqué are there, and they are already the established stars. You are merely the quiet kid with the long hair and the growth disorder. You weep into your pillow at night, keeping it quiet so your father won't hear. You feel like a massive disappointment to your family. But then you step onto the grass. The ball is the singular entity that speaks your exact language. You start scoring at will. You start winning matches. The daily injections are finally working. You are growing, slowly but surely. You log your first team debut at just 16 years old on November 16, 2003, during a friendly match against Porto. Jose Mourinho is running their bench and he takes immediate notice. Everyone does. Sporting the number 14 jersey, you play with absolute fearlessness, taking on veteran internationals and making them look incredibly sluggish. A year later, on October 16, 2004, you make your official league debut against Espanyol at 17, becoming the youngest player to ever represent the club in a competitive fixture. Then arrives the breakthrough goal on May 1, 2005 against Albacete. Ronaldinho, the reigning best player on earth, chips a gorgeous ball over the defensive line. You loop it beautifully over the keeper, but it's wrongly disallowed for offside. Ronaldinho replicates the pass seconds later, doing it exactly the same way. You loop it again. Goal! You leap straight onto Ronaldinho's back and he carries you around like a little brother. He recognizes what the broader world has yet to discover. He tells the media he isn't even the top player at Barcelona. He's talking about you. The year 2006 unfolds as a bittersweet symphony. You are a consistent starter now, terrorizing defensive lines across the Champions League. You completely dismantled Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. You are 19 and global media is already crowning you the definitive heir to Diego Maradona. But then your hamstring snaps against Chelsea. You miss the rest of the campaign, forced to watch from the stands in Paris as Barcelona defeats Arsenal. Too devastated to celebrate, you stay away from the pitch afterward. You feel deep down like you didn't earn this triumph, and you even reject taking the winner's medal. You are a pure perfectionist, and a perfectionist does not celebrate a victory they didn't personally bleed for on the pitch. You travel to your very first World Cup in Germany that summer as a substitute. You score against Serbia, becoming the youngest Argentine to ever feature and score in the tournament. But the manager leaves you pinned to the bench during the agonizing quarterfinal against Germany. Argentina crashes out on penalties. You sit slumped on the grass, staring blankly into space. The very first scar in what will become a long, grueling war with your own national team. Then comes March 10th, 2007. El Clasico. Real Madrid. The most massive game on the planet. You are 19 years old. You score once, then twice, but Madrid keeps snatching back the lead. It's the final minute of play. You receive the ball, skip past 3 lunging defenders, and smash it into the bottom corner. A hat trick against Madrid. You are crowned the king of Barcelona before you are legally old enough to purchase a beer in certain countries. A month later, against Getafe, you literally recreate Maradona's goal of the century. Starting inside your own half, you bypass 6 players, round the goalkeeper, and slot it home. It is an identical masterpiece. The surrounding pressure transforms into a mountain. The public doesn't just demand that you be great, they expect you to be a living god. Pep Guardiola takes the reins in 2008, immediately clearing out Ronaldinho and Deco. He looks at you and declares that this team belongs to you now. He shifts your positioning from the wing to the dead center, creating the false 9. You are now the beating heart of everything. 2009 becomes the historic year of the treble. You secure the league title, lift the Copa del Rey, and march into the Champions League final in Rome against Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo stands on the opposite side. The pundits claim he is superior. He's taller, quicker, and physically stronger. You deliver your answer with a header. Standing at just 5'7", you hang suspended in the air, looping the ball over Edwin van der Sar. You actually lose your shoe in the scramble, kissing the boot in celebration. You win the final, and you claim your very first Ballon d'Or. You are 22 years old and officially the finest player on earth. The records begin to collapse like a row of dominoes. In 2010, you capture the Ballon d'Or a second time. In 2011, you secure the Champions League trophy yet again at Wembley Stadium, unleashing a rocket of a shot from well outside the penalty box. Sir Alex Ferguson remarked afterward that no opponent has ever given his team a thrashing quite like that. You take home your 3rd consecutive Ballon d'Or, you are entirely untouchable. 2012 becomes the year of the mathematically impossible. You score 91 goals in a single calendar year, shattering Gerd Muller's historic record that had stood firm for 40 years. You net 5 goals in a single Champions League fixture against Leverkusen, rattling off hat tricks as if they were simple tap-ins. You claim a 4th straight Ballon d'Or, a feat that looks as though it will never be replicated by another human being. You are the absolute center of the footballing universe. Yet, the sky directly over Argentina remains pitch black. While you are winning every available accolade in Spain, you are deeply struggling in the blue and white stripes of your homeland. The 2010 World Cup turns into a total disaster under Maradona's management, where you fail to score a single goal. The fans in Buenos Aires call you Catalan, claiming you don't truly feel the shirt or sing the national anthem loud enough. You hear the toxic whispers, and they sting far more than any physical tackle. You desperately want to give them everything, but the ball simply refuses to cross the line. 2014, Brazil, the World Cup. You are now the captain. You put the entire squad on your back through the group stages, scoring in every match to act as the team's engine. You claw your way to the final at the iconic Maracanã against Germany. This is the ultimate moment. This is how you finally silence the doubters and stand alongside Maradona. You get your golden opportunity in the second half. You break through on goal, firing a shot across the face of the net. It misses the far post by mere inches. Mario Götze scores for Germany in extra time, and you lose. You are forced to walk right past the Golden World Cup trophy just to collect your silver medal. A photograph is captured of you staring at it, the loneliest image in sports history. You are awarded the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player, but you don't care in the slightest. It tastes like ash in your mouth. The heartbreak only compounds. In 2015, you guide the team to the Copa America final, only to lose to Chile on penalties. In 2016, the Centenario final brings a rematch with Chile. This time, you miss your own penalty kick. You are utterly devastated and emotionally spent. At 30 years old, feeling like a perpetual failure for your country, you walk into the locker room and announce your immediate retirement from international play, stating, "The national team is over for me." The sports world is left paralyzed. Argentina panics. Fans flood the streets holding signs reading, "Don't go, Leo." Even the nation's president calls you directly. You look at the chaos and realize you can't walk away. You love the struggle too much. You decide to return. Back in Barcelona, the landscape is shifting. You win another historic treble in 2015 alongside Luis Suarez and Neymar, forming MSN, arguably the greatest attacking trio ever assembled. You collect your 5th Ballon d'Or. However, the club infrastructure is actively rotting from within. The board is thoroughly incompetent, blowing fortunes on players who don't fit the system, and they lose Neymar to PSG. Your exits from the Champions League transform into public humiliations against Roma and Liverpool. You were still firing home 40 goals a season, practically carrying a dying giant on your shoulders. Tired of the systematic lies, you send a formal burofax in 2020 expressing your desire to leave. They trap you using a legal technicality. You choose to stay for one final year simply because you refuse to drag the club you adore into a bitter courtroom battle. You secure your 6th Ballon d'Or in 2019 and your 7th in 2021, right after finally capturing the Copa America trophy in Brazil, your very first major senior honor for Argentina. You weep openly on the grass. You have finally done it. You are free. Then comes August 2021, the single most agonizing day of your existence. You fly back from vacation completely prepared to sign a fresh contract with Barcelona, having willingly agreed to a massive 50% salary cut. You want to finish your career there. Instead, President Joan Laporta informs you it is financially impossible. The club is entirely bankrupt, and La Liga will not permit the registration. You have to leave immediately. You host a farewell press conference, but you can't even begin to speak. You completely break down sobbing. Your wife, Aunt Nella, quietly hands you a tissue. You had been at this club since you were 13 years old, genuinely believing you would never put on another jersey. 2 days later, you are unveiled in Paris with PSG. It feels completely wrong. The number 30 on your back, an unfamiliar stadium. You win the league, but you are actively whistled by your own supporters. You are a god living in exile. December 2022. Qatar, the last dance. You are 35 years old and you know this is your absolute final shot. The opening match is an absolute nightmare, losing to Saudi Arabia. The entire world mocks you, claiming you are totally finished. You publicly tell the fans, "Trust us, we won't let you down." You score a crucial goal against Mexico to rescue the tournament, provide a genius assist against Holland in a literal war of a quarterfinal, and completely dismantle Croatia in the semis. Then comes the final against France and Kylian Mbappe, the greatest football match ever played. You score twice. Mbappe answers with a hat-trick, 3-3. It goes to penalties. The immense weight of 40 million citizens rests squarely on your shoulders. You step up to the spot and convert. Dibu Martinez pulls off the vital saves and Gonzalo Montiel slots home the winner. You collapse directly to your knees. You are a world champion. You have scaled the final peak, answered every single lingering question, and silenced every single critic. You are the undisputed greatest to ever play the game, and no one can ever strip this achievement away from you. You return home to Argentina as an absolute king. 5 million ecstatic people completely paralyze the streets of Buenos Aires. You ride on an open-top bus, tightly clutching the solid gold World Cup trophy. It is beautiful, historic chaos. You claim your record-extending 8th Ballon d'Or in 2023, a milestone that will likely never be touched again. You finally exit European football, having won absolutely everything. 35 honors with Barcelona, 3 with PSG, and your coveted international titles. You relocate to Florida to join Inter Miami. You want to enjoy the sunset of your career, playing without the suffocating, crushing weight of the European media circus. You secure the league's cup within your very first month. The magic hasn't faded. You are still, at your core, the little boy from Rosario who just wants the ball at his feet. You reside in a gorgeous waterfront mansion now. Your 3 sons, Tiago, Mateo, and Ciro, spend their afternoons playing football out in the yard. Watching them, you see your own reflection. You see the fragile boy who had to drive needles deep into his leg every single night. You see the kid who was too profoundly quiet to speak up. You see the lonely teenager who wept for his mother in a distant academy dorm room. You have walked through the absolute fire. You have been cast as the ultimate hero and the ultimate villain, the king and the exile. You have achieved undisputed immortality. Yet when the house grows completely still and the lights go out, you don't visualize the cabinet full of trophies. You don't think about the golden balls or the 91 goals. Your mind drifts back to Grandma Celia. You think about the dusty dirt pitch at Grandoli. You think about the tiny boy who just wanted to grow. You did grow. You grew far larger than the sport itself. You are Lionel Messi, the flea who transformed into a giant, the mute child who spoke exclusively with his feet, the foreigner who became the beating soul of an entire nation. You are the definitive end of the debate. You are football. And as you sit out on your porch in Florida watching the sun dip cleanly below the ocean horizon, you realize you don't need the needle anymore. You are exactly the height you were always destined to be.